Welcome back to Vinyl Decal School. Thanks for joining me. Any likes, follows and subscribes are always appreciated, so thank you in advance for those. So recently Etsy announced a new feature called Star Seller. If you have sold on Etsy for a while, or even if you haven't, every now and again they have these updates and new features that they decide to announce, and they often are things that sellers don't really feel are necessary. The last one I think was that they decided sellers would get priority placement in searches if they offered free shipping to US customers if the product was over $25, which for a lot of people, especially us overseas sellers, was not welcome news. And I know at the time a lot of people were worried that it might mean the end for their business or that they were going to have to leave Etsy. And I think it may have affected a few people, but in the end, I'm not actually sure it had as much of an impact as we thought it would. So do I think Star Seller will go the same way? Let me go through what it is, the criteria you need to meet in order to get the Star Seller badge, a few things you could do to increase your chances of getting it, and then also my opinion on it at the end as well. So basically, the apparent reason behind it is to let customers know that you have amazing customer service by adding a badge to your shop front. This makes you stand out, but they have also said it will give you more opportunity to be featured by them in their marketing campaigns, although that's not guaranteed, and gives you an opportunity for increased sales as well, but again, that is also not guaranteed. So there are 4 categories you need to get a 95% rating or more in. Feels like school again, doesn't it? And they look at the past 3 months of your selling statistics in order to work this out. The first box you need to tick and the first hurdle you need to jump over is responding to all messages within a 24-hour period. And this is your message response rate. So I have just hit that 95% mark, but there are 13 messages that went over the 24-hour mark because I try not to work too much on a weekend. And I can imagine that is very similar to a lot of us on here. We all need days off. A lot of us who have smaller businesses don't have any assistance with people helping us answer messages around the clock, and we can't be expected to be on call all day, 7 days a week. So I guess if you're like me and you like to have days off as well, then a way to get around it would be to put an autoresponder on your messages just to let anyone know that gets in touch maybe over the weekend that you will reply to them as soon as you're back at your desk. But it does mean they'll get some message and that will count as a response, I believe. Then the next thing is 5-star ratings. Again, I'm just above the threshold there at 96%. I get a lot of 5-star reviews, thankfully. I have very lovely customers. But then I did get a 1-star review this week with no explanation or message from the customer. It happens, unfortunately. And some people, despite giving a glowing description and being really happy with their product, still only ever give 4 stars. It's fine. It's still overall very good. But do be aware of that when you're buying from other Etsy sellers as well. If you are really happy with what you've bought, giving them a 5-star review will really help them out. So if you do need to increase your percentage, I do have a video here that will show you 5 ways on how to get better reviews and avoid bad ratings on Etsy. The third one is probably the reason I will never get a Star Seller badge, and that is dispatch and tracking. So I always send everything on time, that's not an issue. And I'm not sure you can even save a listing without putting a processing and dispatch time on there, so I'm not sure that would ever be an issue either. But it's the tracking that's going to cause me issues, like I'm sure it will for a lot of people. So because I send a lot of my stuff in either small or large letters, it doesn't get automatic tracking through Royal Mail. Here in the UK, it doesn't actually let me buy Etsy postage labels for it anyway as a small and large letter. And although to add tracking isn't that much more, it is when you consider that customers don't even really like to pay for postage in the first place. I have stopped selling overseas, but if I was still, then it would be even more expensive and it just wouldn't be feasible to get tracking for every item, unfortunately. So I understand why they're trying to do it, because of course customers want to know where their package is at, but I don't think they've really took into account the people that sell small items or those who live in places where tracking isn't an option or it's really expensive. And I have a feeling this is going to be the downfall for a lot of people. One thing you could do though, is if you don't already, is offer customers the chance to upgrade their postage to next day or tracked for a little bit of extra money, and that way if people do want to pay the extra then they can, and then you can add those tracking numbers into the system and increase your number that way. Or you could just add it into the cost of your items if you don't want to put your postage up. But that does get tricky if you sell to lots of different countries or places and there's different postage costs for all of them. Or if you sell a lot of multiple items as well, which is what I do. And then the fourth one is maintaining 10 orders and about $300 in sales every 3 months. This doesn't show up on my Etsy page as I have surpassed it, so I went into an Etsy I don't really use just to have a look at what it looks like. I don't really understand how this has anything to do with customer service, to be honest. You could sell low priced items or a few more expensive items, or just kind of use Etsy as a side hustle, or like only do seasonal stuff. It doesn't really take away from you giving really good customer service, but you won't get a star seller badge unless you meet this criteria. I guess it's to show that you have a proven track record of actually selling things on Etsy, but I mean, if you've been on there for years and you only do the occasional thing, then you should be able to do that anyway through your reviews and stuff. But if you're not meeting the criteria and you want to, there are loads of tips out there for how to increase your sales on Etsy. So I can't really mention them here, but do check out the Etsy tips section on my YouTube channel, where there are lots of different videos on how to improve sales and searches and stuff like that. So there it is. Of course, we don't know for sure until it is actually implemented how much of a difference it is going to make. But I'm personally not sure it is actually going to make that much of a big difference to sellers. So I wouldn't worry too much about it if you have been concerned. Yes, good customer service is important, but customers can see that from your reviews. And I actually think things like bestseller and X amount of people have this in their basket is just as important, because it kind of gives you social proof that others are buying your things. I also actually think a lot of people go straight to my listings rather than looking at my shop front. So if the badge is only shown there, I don't actually think it'll make much difference to me whether I have it or not, as a lot of customers won't even see it. Although I'm not actually sure how it will be presented at this stage, so it could show up in listings as well, I'm not sure. The only big benefit that I can really see from it is that you will get the chance to be featured in Etsy marketing more often. But then again, even that, it might be once or twice within like an email or something, which will give you like a massive surge of customers, which is great, but it's not really like a sustainable long-term way to market your shop. So it's a nice little added benefit, but I'm not sure it's going to make that much difference in the overall scheme of things. So I guess my opinion is just you shouldn't worry about it too much anyway. If you give your customers good service and you're making good quality products, I think people will find you and buy from you whether you have that badge or not. And so I still love Etsy, and I would still recommend it to anyone who doesn't already sell there but wants to kind of try out starting their own small business. You do just have to be aware that they're kind of always playing around with their customer experience, and you may have to adapt to things once in a while, but that goes without saying. I think that is just part and parcel of running your own business. That's what you have to do. So I hope you found that helpful. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Star Seller badge, and if you think you will be getting awarded one or not. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, follow and subscribe for more videos like this in future.